So we can use WeDo in combination with LabVIEW to expand the possibilities of your WeDo programming. Let's talk about running a motor using LabVIEW. So first, we plug the motor into the USB hub, same as with the WeDo software. And now, in our programming, we go into the user libraries, should be under the functions palette, and expand WeDo right here. Now, we want to pick motor A or motor B, or motors A and B. These are the three VIs that will deal with our motors. This here is slot A, and this here is slot B. So pick the one that your motor is plugged into. In this case, we have slot A. So we pick motor A and drag it out here. Let's take a look at it. Here, on the input side, we have a pink node for WeDo info, a blue integer node for speed of motor A, and then on the output side, we have a pink node for WeDo info out. So, let's talk about the speed first. The speed ranges from 0 to 127, as opposed to 0 to 10 on the WeDo software. You get a lot more control here. This pink thing here, when you run a start block for WeDo, this is just like other WeDo programs, to run any of these other WeDo blocks, you have to have a start block out there, and you have to run WeDo info in from the start block to the block you want. So if I want to run a motor and then read a sensor, you plug them all in series, just like this. Just like in the WeDo software. Let's get rid of those. Alright, let's talk about controlling the direction of these motors. To control the direction, you'll notice that there's only a speed node. However, you can also put in negative powers for your motors. So, for example, negative 100 and 100 are the same power level, they're just different directions on the motor. And once this motor starts running, it'll keep running, even if you hit the stop button on the program or have an end after it. The way you make a motor stop running is by putting another motor later on, but by having a power of 0. And that is how you turn motors off. So, let's talk about running a motor for a length of time. So here, I've got my WeDo play button. It runs in to motor A, which I've set on 100 power, 100 out of 127. I then run that with the pink wire to the motor A again with a power of 0, and then the stop button. But to make sure the motor runs for 2,000 seconds, I put the 0 value inside a while loop, throw in a timer for 2 seconds, and then here I have a true set to the stop in the while loop. So when the timer expires, the while loop ends and the 0 gets sent through. So the motor gets turned on, 2 seconds pass, the 0 gets passed through, and the motor turns off. Let's try that. Perfect. Just like the Run Motor 4 block on the WeDo software. Now, there are other options for running motors. You can also run the motor until a certain condition is satisfied. Here, I have the play button. I turn the motor on, and then again it gets turned off over here. But see, the 0 here waits until this while loop is finished. And this while loop doesn't go until this while loop has been satisfied. Now let's look at what's happening in here. Here, I have my green go wire wired into read sensors, which we'll talk about in a different snippet. And here, I have it set so that the while loop doesn't end until I tilt the tilt sensor forward. Once the tilt sensor has been tilted forward, this while loop ends, this while loop waits 2 seconds, and then the motor ends. So what happens here is, the motor will run until I tilt the tilt sensor forward, it'll wait 2 seconds, and then turn off. Let's plug in the tilt sensor and see what happens. Alright. So it's running. It's going to keep running. Tilt the tilt sensor forward, and it stops after 2 seconds. So the possibilities are almost endless with LabVIEW. It makes it possible to code much more complex behaviors for your WeDo creations, like this weird tilt forward and then wait 2 seconds. Experiment and see what you can do.